ɔware no wanwo na ɛtɔ so mprɛnson wanya mmeranteɛ bɛson na wɔn nyinaa obiara ne na wɔn ɔbaa no nso wu a so ɛda no duru hɔ a heaven hɔ no wɔn na ɛbɛyɛ ne kunu na wɔn ti aseɛ sɛ the difference between the living and the dead is different, and heaven also has a different rule altogether. So as long as we have life here today, according to Ecclesiastes account, Ecclesiastes 9:10, whatever we find doing, we ought to do it with all our might, with all our strength, for there's neither work nor knowledge in the grave. And based on this, therefore, to officially say that our meeting today on report writing is duly open, and we pray that the Lord will lead us on behalf of the chairperson of the presbytery. I want to say you're all welcome. I'm pretty sure that everyone is here. This exercise is very important because in the month of November, we are supposed to present our reports to our districts, and our district will also present them to the presbytery. And so if you get it on a good note, it will run smoothly for us to also present a very good report to the General Assembly office. To do us this wonderful presentation is my own brother, and I admire him from afar, and we are happy to meet here again. He is the lay representative of one of the finest presbytery in our church. And so having him here is a good thing, our dear brother. And I know Professor Hayes, and so once I see him, I know he's also a professor. And so my dear Professor Anand Hesse, my brother, we are very grateful to have you here. And we say God richly bless you for availing yourself to be used. He's the lead facilitator for the strategic planning and its implementation committee. So, my dear brother, God bless you for being here. Again, I have my own brother here. He's also at the General Assembly office, specifically with the clerk of General Assembly, our dear brother, Reverend Frank Kisi. Papa Frank, may the Lord Papa. Also, God bless you. And so Amen. I welcome you and Professor Anand Hesse, that the Lord will use you today to bless us. Greetings from the chairperson of Presbytery and the Presbytery Council as well. We are happy to have you here. So please, now we are ready. This meeting is made up of Presbytery directors, district coordinators, Presbytery officers, president and secretaries. And again, we have local secretaries. We wanted to go deeper and deeper and deeper such that no mistakes will be recorded in our reporting strategy. So today, our objective is that at the end of this service, this meeting, this workshop, members would be able to present a report per the dictates of the General Assembly Council. We are also ready to have you. My name is Awuku-Gyampoh, the clerk of Presbytery. God bless you.
God bless you, Papa, also Dr. Awuku-Gyampoh. I'm happy to be here. We are happy to be here, Reverend Kisi and myself. And I believe this is the second time we are doing a workshop, or a third time for North America or Australia. And we are happy to do this as many times as we need to do this. I was asked within the week that this workshop was scheduled, and I was very happy to be part of it. I believe I'll be able to share my screen once I share the
yes,
one.
Sir. Yeah, do that. That's fine. Just clear this one. Thank you.
Okay. Right.
Thank
you.
you.
So
we also have our district ministers on the day. In fact, they are the key persons on the line. We have our district ministers and all ministers and agents also on board, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I heard you say that the focus for today is report writing, and that's what I will do.
Yes,
I have also attached a little bit on the template that we'll be using for 2023. So if we have some time, we'll continue with that. But we'll try to exhaust the issues on report writing first.
Great.
How long do we have together?
We wouldn't go beyond 2 hours, sir.
2 hours from when? From 3 or from the time we started, or 3 hours from 2 hours from now?
So we left it maybe 2 hours as you start, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So please, when we are getting there, just prompt me, then we'll see how to wrap up. But we'll go through at least the report writing completely. So
thank you.
Okay. So I think you've done the opening already, and I'll just kick off. Like I've been introduced, my name is Ludwig Anang Hesse, the lay rep for Ghana Presbytery. But really, I like to be identified as a children's service teacher. I've been doing it for more than 40 years, together with Reverend Frankisi. And we've been doing that for a long time. But today, the focus is on report writing and the strategic planning. And we'll start with a little bit of introduction. But let me just say that, just to put this in context before I go on with what I have on the slides. At the last General Assembly, all presbyteries were expected to present their reports in accordance to the report writing guidelines that were issued by the General Assembly Council sometime in June 2021. And quite a number of the presbyteries did a good job of it, but others had little challenges. Of course, it was new, so you expect that you have challenges. But I remember I have to struggle with your chairperson at the General Assembly meeting, because I was the convening the AHRM, and we were supposed to report comment on how people were complying. And one of the presbyteries that I think literally used the whole format without coming to this was North America, Australia. And it was a little tough on that. So I believe having this workshop probably will reorient us so that next time when our name is mentioned, to mention among the people who had complied with the templates that have been given for report writing. And this report writing template is also been designed to be consistent with the strategic plan that was adopted in 2019 by the GA in August 2019 for the period 2020 to 2029. But really, the effective implementation started for that strategic plan started in 2021. 2022, we know what happened, and also we use it to prepare ourselves to get all the processes in place. So, as part of the processes for implementing the strategic plan, each court, that's the congregation, districts, presbytery, and even the national level, are supposed to do their own detailed planning, and then there are reporting processes for the planning documents and the reporting documents. So this really is what, and we have all these Excel templates, and now we have the report writing guidelines also approved by GAC last year to help with the reporting, also at least as it relates to the prose part of the reporting and how the two combine, the Excel templates and the prose combine. So this is what we'll be focusing on today. There are four, from the strategic plan point of view, there are 4 documents that every court is supposed to issue every year. The first one is a 3-year rolling plan. And that means every year we do on the goals that we are supposed to do, we set targets for them for the 3 years ahead of us. That's why we call it rolling, because that every year you drop the last year and add 1 more year to it, and you plan for 3 years and you look ahead. So that becomes an overarching document that we look at, which helps us to look beyond just the immediate. But for the year, we take out the first year of the 3-year rolling plan, and then we do what we call annual quarterly targets. It's a planning document that tells you what activities am I going to do to implement all the applicable goals that I've set myself in the 3-year rolling plan for the first year. So this is divided into 4 quarters of the year. And for every strategy or every activity that you say you are going to do, you are asked to say, what is the target achievement that I've put before me for each of the 4 quarters? And based on these annual quarterly targets and the first year goals for the first year targets for the goals, KPIs, we monitor ourselves every quarter to see how far we are going. And so these are the quarterly reports. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we do an annual report that Reverend Gyampoh just made reference to. So every court is supposed to issue 4 quarterly reports and an annual report. And so the initial part of this discussion will focus on these quarterly reports. And then we'll look at our templates for all 4 that has been designed for the coming year in terms of the Excel templates, not the Excel template is not a report. The report is what we will discuss. You will take, once you have completed Excel templates, there are some tabular forms that then the Excel gives to you to be able to add to your reports that you are supposed to issue. So we'll go through these things as we go. So really, today, our focus is to consolidate the use of the report writing guidelines of the church. And it appears that's your focus for that. So we'll delve and go through that slowly and get all the feedback and clear everything on it. And if we have some time, we've done this already on Zoom. I don't know how many of you participated some time ago when the templates were out, but I'll quickly walk through them again if we have time to do so. So this is what we have here today. So let's go straight and hit on the guidelines for report writing. Like I've said already, this was published, guidelines were published in 2021. There's the back of the book that was published. And I'm sure all of you should probably have access to these guidelines already. They are pretty straightforward. I don't think there's too much complication in this. And it must be easy to follow, but sometimes it's also easy to, it's also good to hear it spoken and explained, and then where we have doubts, we get it cleared, and then we can proceed. So I'm going to walk through the guidelines, but focusing on the one that I've marked red. Part of what I've said already probably is in the earlier 2 documents. So we'll focus on the ones that I've marked red. But this is the table of content of the guidelines. So normally, if we were doing this face-to-face, probably we'll be interacting more, but let's go on. Let me say that if as I go on, you have any question, please, I think it will be easy to, if you use the chat room to indicate your question. I'm sure Reverend Gyampoh probably will be monitoring that. If there's any issue, please prompt me so that we can go to it and answer it. On the other hand, you can raise your hand, and if we see you, we'll just ask you to speak up. So please, let's make it a little more interactive so that we don't have to go too far before any issue comes up, so that we'll get a better understanding. I don't mind if you do that. Now, I would say that organizations prepare reports as first of all, as a record of current position of the organization. For instance, when the accountants do the financial statements, it's a record as at. If you are an ongoing concern, you want to know your position as at a certain point. Every organization has a vision and it has a mission. And periodically, the organization stops and says, how far have I achieved my vision, or am I living out my vision and achieving the missions that I've set for myself? And also you want to know how the organization itself is doing and how its members are also doing. So normally, periodically, the organization will set aside the process of taking that record of the current positions and putting it on record. It becomes historical records and things that we can refer to. But it also informs the people who matter in the organization and anybody who cares what the organization stands for, how far it's reached its goals, and who its members are, and how it's organized. So that record will have to be made periodically. And for us as a church, we said that we should do this quarterly, and also we should do it annually. So it's a record of the current position. It puts facts down, it tells stories of the organization that needs to be told, and things like that. But the second point is when we put these records down, and in comparing them with previous information or records, we can evaluate how far we are doing. And we can evaluate our performance, let's say it that way, because we want to know whether we are doing well or not, whether we are really walking the talk, so as they put it. Sometimes it's very easy to say, I want to do this, but have you done it? Are you doing it? Are you on the path of achieving your goals? Have you achieved your goals? Have you affected people in the way you said you want to affect people? The second reason, really, beyond being just a record, is to monitor and evaluate performance. So again, that's why we may want to do periodic reports. But if we want to monitor and evaluate, then we can only do it against specific goals that we've set ourselves. So we have to be very specific about this, because if we want to evaluate, then that means it must be measurable. We must have measurable indicators. So for every goal that we set ourselves, we must have key performance indicators to which we can use to measure how well we are doing. We can set ourselves targets, and we can work towards certain benchmarks that are within the area in which we are working. So again, when you prepare a report, you want to evaluate yourself against these benchmarks or your own goals or performance indicators that you've pre-set for yourself for a certain period. So it's important that before we can report adequately, to evaluate ourselves adequately, then we must have planned something. We must have given ourselves some targets to meet against certain indicators. That's why the planning part is very important. If you have not planned previously, then what are you evaluating yourself against? You can just put on record what your situation is today, but whether you are doing well or not, nobody is able to tell. So, and when it comes to the evaluation, I see it in two levels. The first one, level one, I call the self-accountability. When you are an organization, or you are a department of an organization, or you are a section of a subset of an organization, you want to evaluate yourself before you subject yourself to the evaluation of your head office or your boss. So the self-accountability, in this case, if you're a congregation, you've set yourself certain targets for the year. And when you write your report, you should write the report in such a way that you can evaluate yourself and say, am I doing, from my own perspective, am I doing as well as I could be doing? What am I doing right? What am I doing not too right? And what can I do better? And this is what we call the self-accountability. So if you're a congregation, the report, the first line of reporting and evaluation is at your own session. The session is the court of the church. The other things we do is that we do what we call the DEBA, congregational DEBA, or sometimes some people call it congregational conference. And we meet there and even account to the whole church how we are doing. So these are the self-accountability processes. So the first person who benefits from the reports we write is ourselves. If you are the district, you account yourself to your district session. The district clerk will send a report on the district to the district session, and the whole session will then evaluate it and see whether we are doing well or not. The same thing applies to the presbytery. So this is the first level of self accountability. And if we want this to be useful, then we should report to ourselves in a way that enables the session to make decisions, to take actions, to make decisions. So if we don't report in a way that is accountable, then it becomes difficult for the session to also make a decision based on the report that they've read, or they will make decisions which are not supported by facts. This is what you say. Then the second level is to account to a higher authority. In this case, if you're a congregation, you account to a district. And if you're a district, you account to a presbytery. And if you're a presbytery, you account to the General Assembly or the General Assembly. So those are the higher authority levels as we have. If you are a director, you account to your chairperson in the presbytery. If you are the committee chair or convener, you account to your to the agent in charge or to the session in the congregation. So there's always somebody to account to, and as a higher authority within a court or even intercourt. So again, when you're accounting to the higher authority, the report must be in a manner that helps the higher court to make decisions for itself and its lower courts. In this case, we are talking about the church. So for me, if we understand these concepts, that the report is a record in the first place, and then is an accountability document. So we must be able to evaluate the report and see whether we are doing well or not, and also if we need to make decisions that will help us achieve our goals and objectives, then we can make those decisions. So when you are writing the report, without any direction, if you have this tool in your mind, you should be able to do a report, having planned, having set yourself targets already at the beginning of the year, then this becomes meaningful. If you have not set yourself any targets, the evaluation part doesn't become too useful, because at the time you're evaluating, you can decide whether 2 is good enough or not. And if you said I was going to do 5, and at the end of the period you've done only 2, then you know that I've done only 40%. Then the question is 40% good enough? But if you didn't say I'm going to do 5 and you did 2, say I did 2, I was able to do 2, then you are very happy. But whether 2 is good enough, it's for anybody to say. So having gone through this purpose, and I've done it very simply. I know it's more complicated. There are more professors who have written books on accountability and all those things, but that was my intention, is to make this as simple for us as possible, and for us to be able to write simple reports that can be evaluated and help the church move its mission and vision forward. So if there are no issues on this, we'll proceed. I see that there are some 4 charts. I don't know if there are questions. Dr. Hesse, the last report. Okay, somebody is calling me Dr. Hesse. I'm only Engineer Hesse, if you want to add a title, but normally Kofi is good enough. The last report in the quarter considered as an annual report for the year, please, meaning should that last report in the quarter reflect the whole year? Yes, we will really answer this question as we go on. Okay, is it possible to record this meeting for future reference? I think it's been recorded already. So this is a real question from Rocky with an I. Okay. So yes, let me take this before we move on. The expectation is that, and this differs from the congregation through the other courts. So let me hold on and go according to, then I'll answer that question as I'm going on, Rocky. So we do quarterly reports, and these are the submission deadlines. For the congregation, you're supposed to submit your quarterly report 14 days after the quarter. So the first quarter, our quarters are actually the calendar year quarters. So it's January to March, April to June, July to September, then October to December. So that means all congregations are expected that by the 14th day of April, they will have submitted their first quarter, 14th day of July, second quarter, 14th day of October, third quarter, and 14th day of January, their fourth quarter. I'll come and clarify Rocky's question. Then the districts are expected to then collate, and this is very important, because our reports collate from the lower courts. If the congregations don't submit their report, the district is not able to submit its report. It's very important. So if one congregation fails to submit the report, it's really costing the district a lot, because the district only has 7 days after the congregation has submitted reports to compile and add all its own things to it and submit. So this is very important. Then the presbytery has 28 days. Again, if the districts have not submitted, or one district in the presbytery has not submitted this report, then you are making it difficult for the presbytery to proceed, because the presbytery will have to collate some information from the districts before they are able to submit their report. Now, what do we submit in the quarterly report, and who submits it? Now, this why and now I'll answer Rocky question here. Now we are doing quarterly reports, and what is on the left? Those are the reports that the guideline says we should submit. And typically, it's a report that will be submitted in the Word format. It's a text plus tables. Now, the tables that will be attached to this quarterly report will come from the quarterly Excel template that, if it's properly completed, generates the table that we need to attach to the quarterly report that we're supposed to submit. So the Excel report that we have, that we're also required to submit, is important because that is the easiest way that the higher court can compile its own report. Because Excel is a better tool than the Word. If you give everything to everybody in Word, then your tables and things, somebody will have to go and retype them or copy them and paste them in Excel and do. But you have templates that will help to compile the congregation reports that are submitted in Excel into a district report that will be prepared in Excel, and some of those parts will be taken out, that will be attached to the Word document and submitted. I hope I've explained this clearly, because this is very important. The experience, for instance, at the last General Assembly is that some presbyteries submitted their annual report, and they said table AR1 is attached. But when you go into the report, there's no table AR1. And so when you went to the floor of the General Assembly and said they didn't submit table AR1, they said, but we submitted our Excel sheet to the head office. So somebody was expecting that somebody will go and copy the reports from the Excel sheet and attach it to their Word report. No. What you're expected to do is to take the the table from the Excel sheet and bring it into your Word and format it to look nice and present it as your report. The Excel sheet then will be sent in parallel to this report to help the district compile its district report. In the same way, the Excel sheet from the district will be sent to the presbytery to help the presbytery compile its presbytery reports. So that is just the ease of compilation. that's why the Excel reports are sent. And they, of course, they provide a lot more background information that anybody who wants to evaluate can go in to do. But whichever part of it is needed in your quarterly report, you have to copy it and annex it to your prose report. And I want this to be very clear to us. Now, this is a reason why I will say that, and Rocky, I'm answering your question now, that we are submitting all the 4 quarterly reports, especially the Excel part. So the 4th quarter report, your prose report plus the table that go with it will be your annualized report, which comes from your quarterly report. But when you complete your quarter Excel spreadsheet and send it, the district is able to also to compile its annual report from it. So yes, you will not, in terms of the written prose report, you will not need to submit a 4th quarter report. You will submit an annual report in place of the 4th quarter report. But you still have to send your 4th quarter spreadsheet report to your district and the district to the presbytery. I hope I've answered that question now. So like I've said already, the content of the report is the narrative report and the tabular attachments. And I've said already that the tabular attachments come from the Excel spreadsheet or the Excel templates that have been properly completed. And I've stressed that for the district, if any congregation has not submitted its tabular forms, then the district is not able to compile it has not submitted the Excel, then they are not able to compile their tabular attachments to the district report. So this is very important. Now, so let's look at the narrative templates. Let's walk through the narrative template. Now, again, this is not rocket science, but it's just a general format that you need to follow. Every report has a title. And because we are all operating under the banner of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, any title that you write, you have that banner. When you saw my opening page, it has a banner of Presbyterian Church of Ghana. The page that Reverend Gyampoh, Awuku-Gyampoh showed also had a banner, Presbyterian Church of Ghana. So every report, doesn't matter which level, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana will have to come on top. And then your name. Who are you? You identify yourself. So if it's a congregation, what is the name of the congregation? And if it's the name of if it's a district, what's the name of the district? And if it's a presbytery, what's the name of the presbytery? It's written clearly so that we know that this is the part of the presbytery church that we are reporting under. And then because it's a quarterly report, you have to state whether it's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th quarter report. And which year are you reporting in? And then submitted to who? So every report has a destination. So, for instance, if you do a report for internal discussion for your session, then your report is for the session. If session have looked at it and you are sending it to a higher court, then the address should be changed to that submitted to district or submitted to the district minister or submitted to district session, wherever that report is being sent to. So these ingredients will have to be in your title header. And then normally people will start their report with a preamble or an introduction. Normally, we have been doing this, and I don't think I need to teach anybody how to do this. There are some people, you can see them that they'll write a preamble, then they'll write an introduction. There are some people who just write a preamble. There are some people who just write an introduction. This is a matter of style, and we are not prescribing one or the other. If you want to do an it's up to you. If you want to just do an introduction or a preamble, it's up to you. So that one, you have the option to choose what style you want to adopt. But normally it's a brief statement or quotation to capture the spirit and or content of the report. Normally in our circles, people will have a Bible quotation or a quotation of a hymn or a quotation from any source that you think is relevant. And then some people will say, this report is about this. What should people expect in the report? Some people will say it, some people don't. If you have a table of content, you really don't need to say it, but some people will want to say it. Again, it's a question of style. So what you put in your preamble or introduction is a style, but the idea is that it has to be brief. Every introduction has to be brief. It shouldn't take 1 page. Normally, if it starts taking more than 2 sentences, 3 sentences, then it's becoming a crowd. So please, introduction should be brief. And there are people who will not even read your introduction at all. They will just go and look at where the beef is in your report. So the more you write, the more you just spend time writing it, and a lot of people don't read introduction statements and preambles. A few people will read, and it will have a meaning to them. So don't take them away, but make them brief. That's all that I need to say about this. Now, for the quarterly, quarterly report, the narrative, after the introduction, you go straight to update on membership, because our members are our most valuable assets, and we are in this business because we want to get people to heaven. So the more people we have, the chances are that a lot more will get to heaven, and so we need to update on how many souls we have as members of our church. So there's always an update on the membership statistics, and the templates are there. And if they are filled properly, and we are using the correct source of material, then this should not be a difficulty. You copy it, and normally you will find it as QR2 in the templates, and then you attach it to your QR2 to your report, a tabular form QR2 to your report, and then you can comment on it. Then. Really, sometimes that the information is good enough, sometimes, but sometimes there are some notable things relating to membership that you want to say. So if you have anything additional to just the information, please say it, and then we proceed. Then from our members, we talk about money, because it's money that we use to run the show. And if there's going to be a problem, it's accountability on money that will be an issue that brings a lot of trouble. So first of all, there are certain things that we need to comply with. So in this case, you are not putting a financial statement in there. That's not what this template is asking for in the quarterly report. It's asking for the status of compliance with all financial regulations, basically. So the first one is that as a church, we are all obliged to make weekly contributions. I don't know how you do it in your presbytery, because your presbytery, strictly speaking, is not part of the national contribution system. So your presbytery is not doing the contributions in the way this decision has been made to the national office. But probably within yourself there, you have a contribution system that helps your presbytery and your districts to run. So whatever it is within yourselves, you have to do it. Again, I know that from the last GSC we had, there's an agreement between your presbytery and the head office that certain monthly or payments will be made remitted to the as a presbytery. So again, the presbytery will have to report on that to say this is how well we are doing in those contributions. And then if there are audits and things that we are statutory things that we need to also respond to, we'll respond to them as it applies to us. Some of these payment things and contributions and all those things probably are unique to the Ghana church and not to the overseas church. So you may just have to look at what applies to you and then respond to it in your report. Again, because it is a quarterly report and we don't want very long narratives, it says here that the next thing after you reported on membership and finance, you report on notable achievements and events. Now, it's good to do this per the what do you call it? Directorates, departments level structure, or the committees that we have in the congregations and the districts. For the presbytery, you do it at departmental level, but in the congregations you can do it under the various committees that you have. And then but whatever it is, there should be brief statements of notable events and achievements. So even if you are reporting under all the 7 committees in the district, you should be making 1 or 2 statements under each. In the quarter, anything more than that then will be too much of a crowd. But it's also important that if there are important stories, and the moderator insists on this because he says that's the only way history is recorded. If there are important stories, then we should tell the stories. But again, we should tell it in the matter that people may want to ask more questions to know what is behind it, and not that we are writing a book of stories, but still in a few words, be able to give a testimony of a good story, thing that something that has occurred, event somewhere that you think all should hear. There's the opportunity to tell those little stories. So let's not pull ourselves away from telling these little stories. The tables and things don't allow you to tell stories. They tell their own stories, so to say. But sometimes there are other stories that you have to go out of your way to tell. So when there's something like that once in a while, please let it flow. So these are what we call the notable achievements and events that have occurred in the quarter. These are activities that have occurred in the quarter. Then you make statements on them. Now, so once you've gone through this, the only thing that is left is that if there are any challenges that you want to bring up, again, you may have 10 challenges that you are facing, but in a quarterly report like that, you don't need to list all 10 challenges. Otherwise, nobody will see any of them. So if you want people to, so then prioritize what your challenges are, especially if you are reporting to a higher authority and you want them to help you with something, then focus on the things that they can help you with, or they are likely to see and respond and help you. So that's a way to be able to prioritize which challenges you want to highlight in the quarterly report. Again, if the challenges are things that you are dealing with, then don't just state the challenge, but also state what you are doing to be able to address it, or what help you need to be able to address that challenge. So in those brief statements of challenges, you should be able to say all these. So either this is the issue, but this is what you are doing to address it. Or this is what the challenge is, this is what you are doing, and this is the support we need. Or even if if you can't do anything, this is how we want you to help us to solve it. So that's what I would say about writing on challenges. But it must be brief. Again, it's a quarterly report, so please, in the annual report, we can be a little more expressive, but in the quarterly report, don't write too much that people don't want to read. Then recommendations. Now, at the end of every report, you should have some recommendations. If you don't, just ask that your report should be accepted. If you don't have a recommendation, don't make any. But if you have something and the recommendation is what you want the person who is reading your report or evaluating your report to do for you, to help you do. or to do for everybody. So focus on that. Anything that you want to do yourself is not a recommendation. It's an aspiration that you have for yourself, and it's not in the place. That's not where to state it. The things that you put here, you are expecting that the recipient of your report should take action on it. That's your expectation. So if you don't have anything for him to do for you, then just thank him for reading your report and ask him to accept it. That's all. So this is what recommendations should focus on. And of course, the report should be signed and endorsed. The clerk at each level, in fact, the Constitution gives the clerk the responsibility of writing reports and collecting statistics and all those things. So the clerk will be expected to sign this report. If the report is going to your own session, then the clerk's signature is okay. But if it's going to a higher court, like a congregation to a district, then when the clerk signs, the agent in charge should also countersign. If it's from a district which is coming to a presbytery, if the clerk of presbytery signs, a district signs, the district minister should also have to countersign. In fact, the Constitution says that it must, they use the word, I've forgotten the word they use, but they must endorse the report. They use the word authenticate. That's the word the Constitution uses. The Constitution says that you must authenticate any report that is coming out of your court. So if you are the agent in charge, when the clerk writes a report, the Constitution requires that you authenticate it. For the district minister must authenticate it. But the clerk is the one who writes and signs, and is authenticated by the accountable officer. So generally, this will be the structure of the. Then you will attach the tabular templates to it. So this is attached to the narrative report. And like I've said already, all these tables, you can take them directly out of the Excel templates. So if you compile your report properly, then you should have the templates there. So the first one is what we call the quarterly KPI update, which we call QR1. Then QR2, which is a quarterly membership update. And then QR3 is departmental committee quarterly performance. You see that the 1 and 2, we call them updates, because you've set yourself an annual target. So every quarter you are updating, how far have I reached the annual target? So when we come to the tables, I will explain this, but I'm starting to talk about it now. That the quarterly reports are cumulative. So you are reporting as at. So as at the end of the second quarter, this is the update on my performance. So you are not saying that what did I do in the quarter, but where am I at the end of the quarter? So that's the way the templates have been designed. So when we are reporting, for instance, if you say by the end of the year I'll win 10 souls, the first quarter will say how many souls have you won? You said I won 2 souls. So that what will appear in your second quarter. Now in your first quarter, in your second quarter, how many souls have you won by the end of the second quarter? That's the question. So you take the number of souls you won in the second quarter, add it to the first quarter, and report it as what number of souls you won in the second as at the end of the second quarter. This is very, very important. If we don't do that, then we are underreporting. So this is done in such a way that once you complete your fourth quarter Excel report, your annual report is automatically generated, because whatever is in your fourth quarter is those numbers or those dates or those percentages are your annual number, because you have accumulated up to that point. So let's pay attention to this. This is slightly different from QR3, which are the departmental, which is a report on activities. So that's why you just focus on what you've done in the fourth quarter. But let's go to these tables one by one and see how they look like. So the QR1, which is quarterly KPI updates. This is data, okay, so normally it's in the same format as your TYRP counts, where we have for each department, there's a code, then there are goals for each department, and then for each goal, there are key performance KPIs, and the units that are being used to measure the KPI. And then already in your TYRP, you'd have noted what your previous year actual was and what your current year target is. So if you're in 2022, you'd have reported on what was the previous year actual, 2021. And current year, 2022, what is my target for 2022? Then, so all this is put in place. You have it already. Once you finish your TYRP, this information is already there. And in the Excel sheet, this will be transferred to your quarterly reporting tables for you. So you don't need to go and even enter this already. All you need to do is that you see that in your Excel sheet, this will be blue. The blue pages will be under Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And that's where you have to go and enter your information for each quarter. So in quarter one, you only enter at Q1, quarter two, Q2, up to quarter four when you enter at Q4. And it's said here that the data for columns G to J, which is the current year actuals, as at. You see that up here we have as at here. So each data we have is as accumulated up to the point that you are reporting. The same way the financial people report on their books, as at. So let's pay attention to this. Some people normally, every time I've said this, some people say, why don't we just put what happened in the quarter there? That's not the way we are doing it. All of us have to do it in the same way. Then we all will understand it one way. We've chosen to do it this way. So everybody will just have to comply with doing it that way. And then we all know that we are reading. And that's how the table has been designed. So let's pay attention to that. So this is the way this looks. And if you've done your TYRP already, then the up to F is automatically filled for you. And then at the end of every quarter, you look for the information to complete Q1, Q2, Q3, and then Q4. I'll proceed. And then the QR2 is quarterly membership update. So this is on membership. And I'm sure some of you would have also seen this table already. Again, this table is generated from the Excel sheet for you. If you put the data in the Excel sheet, you can copy it out and go. And it's breaking this down to children, junior youth, young adults, and total members. Then the percentage growth is put at the bottom there. So every quarter, we update the issue of membership for each of the generational groups. So you don't need to wait till the end of the year before you go and look for your membership. Every quarter, update your row books and then generate your membership data and report on it. And this is very important. This is for the congregations. If you don't do it, then you are giving the higher courts difficulty to proceed. Again, I don't think this table is new to us. And again, the previous year and the current year would have been generated. Current year target would have been generated from your TYRP already. So you don't need to enter anything there. You just have to focus on the quarters updates. Again, note that is as at, not within, as at. So then the third one is the QR3, and this is where a lot of courts are not doing this, because the AQT that will help us to do this, a lot of the courts are not preparing it. The congregations, the districts are not prepared, even some presbyteries. So you don't see, you see the reports, the other QR1 and QR2, but you see very little of the QR3. Now, when you do your planning, you do the TYRP and you do an AQT. I think I explained it earlier. The AQT is for you to put down the strategies or activities that you want to do in the year to achieve the goals that you have in your TYRP. So each department is supposed to work on their own based on their goals to have the list of strategies they are doing. And then for each of the quarters, they are expected to have what their quarterly targets is. So for instance, if you are in the third quarter, if you've done your AQT, then in the Excel sheet, the E and F would have been filled for you for your department. You don't need to fill it every time. It's there in the Excel sheet there. And then at the end of the third quarter, if we're in the third quarter, what you need to do is go and say, I said I was going to hold a crusade in wherever, in New York. And then here will come actual. Yeah, the crusade was held, and so you said I'll hold one crusade was held, and then remarks any information. Probably when you did the crusade, you won 20 souls. So it says 20 souls were won during the crusade, and we decided that we will start a preaching point in somewhere. So this becomes your remark, and then it helps us to go forward. So because it's tabular form, you are not writing a prose here. You are just putting bullet points that gives pointers to important issue. So every court will have to develop its own strategies. These strategies are not collated from any lower court. So for instance, on the same goal, the district activities or strategies will be different from the congregational strategy. We say we want to our members to participate in soul winning. Now, we say how the goal is that we should increase the number of our members who are participating in soul winning. What the congregation will do to get people to participate in soul winning is different from what the district will do. The district may want to probably do a training of trainers program for the congregations for them to know how to encourage their people to participate in soul winning. But when it comes to the congregation itself, they have to organize the actual programs that will help the people to do soul winning, or do the actual encouragement for the people to do soul winning. So you see that the activities will be slightly different. Each court will have its own things to do to be able to achieve these the goals that we've set for ourselves. So these are the strategies that we'll list, and then what we want to do for each quarter. And then and for a strategy, it's not every quarter that you may do something. Sometimes you will do something in the first quarter, but not in the other quarters. It's all right. The other quarters, it will be blank because there was no target, so there's no actual performance, and there will be no remarks. So you just put dash there. If you didn't put it, you wanted to do it in the first quarter, but you did it in the second quarter. There was no target, but actually you performed. So you put it there and make your remarks that this target was set for first quarter. We couldn't do it, so we transferred it to the third quarter. That's all. Then we proceed. So this has, and so if you set yourself the targets, then you can do the actual performance and your remarks on this. And I will encourage every court to really do this. This is not transferred to a higher court. When you do it, you report on it to your higher court. But your higher court will look at it and evaluate it, and if they have any feedback, they will give you. That's all. It's your own action plan that you are doing. So when you are doing self-evaluation, this is where really a lot of your effort will go when you are doing the level 1 evaluation, because you'll be looking at the activities you set yourself to do and how well you have done in them. The higher court will be looking at the results, the KPIs from the goals, more and more. And if you have issues with any of the things you are doing, they will come down to come and help you to do it. I hope this is clear. So basically, this is the quarterly reports, and I'm checking, there are some charts here. Are there any issues on this? If there are any issues on this, I can pick them before I go to the annual report.
Please, we encourage you all to write your questions. Write your questions to my professor who say, when he asks Africans to ask questions, they write his. So please try to write your question in so simple way that he can pick them. Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking at some questions. It says, please clarify that Q4 report should be written as an annual report. Now, let me say this again. Your Q4 Excel report should be sent forward in the same way that any quarterly report is sent. So they should be sent forward. Now, in terms of your PROS report, you don't need to do a fourth quarter PROS report. Do a fourth quarter annual. So at the end of the fourth quarter, do your PROS should all go into your annual report. Just focus on that. Your Q4 Excel sheets will generate your annual report tables for you that you have to go and copy and attach to your PROS report. And then when the time is due for you to submit your PROS report, you submit it. But as soon as you finish your entering your quarter 4 data, forward your Excel report to the higher court within the deadline that has been given for quarterly report, so that they can also start working on compiling their own quarter 4 report and therefore annual reports. This is the explanation. If it's too confusing, please ask the question again. I'll do it again because this is very important for me. I see Reverend Dr. Michael here. It appears the knowledge report must be submitted by agents while the tabular one is submitted by clerks. No, like I said, all reports going outside the court must be, the Constitution says, authenticated by the agent in charge. So if you are the agent in charge for the congregation, when the clerk prepares the report that is going to be submitted to the district minister, please make sure that you have seen the report, you've read through it, and then you endorse it. You also countersign it. If there are things that you want to be amended, they will be amended before, because when it leaves your congregation, it is not the clerk's report. It is the congregation's report, and you are the one who is accountable for it. There are meetings that you, it probably doesn't apply at the district level, but the district session, normally, the clerks also go. But at the presbytery level, the clerks don't attend presbytery council meetings. So when you go there and the question is being asked, it will be asked to the district minister and the lay rep. So it's very important that the accountable officers who are for the congregations, the agents in charge, will countersign before any report leaves your congregation to go to the district. If it's a report that is going to be submitted to your session, then the clerk can sign it. You don't need to sign it. You are chairing that meeting anyway. And when it comes to you, if there are corrections, they can all be made before they go upstairs. But if it's going to leave your congregation, you must countersign. The same way for the district, the same thing for the presbytery. So I hope that this question from Reverend Dr. Michael, I can't see the other part of the name, Ubri something, is answered. Please, how members have access to the correct templates? So how do members get access to the templates? Now, when the templates are, I hope you're asking about the Excel templates, because the report writing template has been published. There's even a hard copy book that we have in Ghana here. But for you, I'm sure the soft copies have been sent to you, and you just have to generate your own templates from them. But the Excel templates, they are shared to all presbytery clerks, chairpersons, and ICs should all have copies of it, and they're supposed to distribute it within their presbyteries. So I hope this is answered. So you see that we do work on these things, but when it's coming out, we get a clerk to write a letter, the clerk of General Assembly to write a letter, and then we date that particular template. So the current template that will come, you see that there will be a date at the end. Normally, I generate a lot of the templates, the Excel templates, and it's only when I finish that I put a date at the end, and that date will be the date that the clerk sends the thing. So if you see one that has that date, then if you are not too sure, you ask your the higher court people, and then they can get you the right template. But please, always, if you are starting, don't get the template from another congregation and start using. Get the template which has not been filled at all. Because sometimes, even for me, when I'm testing these things, you forget to leave some numbers somewhere which you just used to test, but you didn't clean. And so if you haven't cleaned it and you don't see it, it will appear as though you entered it. So please always start from a clean template. What does KPI? And I think you answered it for yourself. So key performance indicator, that's what KPIs are. And okay, the SL report is a cumulative report. Yes. George, you are right. And I'm happy that we are restating it, affirming it. Do we still have to attach from C? No. You don't. If you attach what we are talking about, you don't have to attach from C. You have to forward from C on its own to the, if you are in congregation, forward your from C to the district as a standalone thing. You are not attaching it to your report. These tables are what you need to attach to your report, not from C. Not from C. So some people still attach from C, but if you attach this, you don't need to attach from C to your report. Just this. I think somebody said the Form C was formatted a little differently from what we are seeing now. Yes, of course. And Form C itself will change eventually. So don't worry too much. And you can see that how do I say it? The membership part, if you the new template for 2023, we've on membership, we've taken the Form C membership structure that is, you have male and female, male and female, male and female. We've brought it in. So now the original data that you fill will be in male and female, though then they will put together in the report slightly differently. So that becomes a data collecting form. You are doing now a report. So Form C is to collect data. Now this is the way we report that data that we collect. So if we have time and we go through the new form, you'll see that one of the things will be that under membership, we've brought the Form C format so that you fill them. That's the only difference: male, female, male, female, male, female. That's the only difference between the Form C data and this one. So now that's how we'll collect the original data from the congregations: male, female, male, female. The same way that Form C collects it. Beyond 2022. So from 2023, that's the way you fill in the data. Jonathan said projections and recommendations. I don't know what, but normally projections are things that you want to do for yourself. And recommendations are the things that you want somebody else, you are recommending to somebody else to make a decision on and act on. And we are saying that when normally you will see that in the annual report, we give space for projections to be done. But in the quarterly report, you have not given that space. We've just asked that you make recommendations. So if you have something to say in terms of projections, just when you are doing your notable events and things and we are discussing it, if you have something you want to do differently in that area, just say it. That should be okay. Nobody will kill you for that. are these templates available for download? Like I've said, we are sharing the templates through the privacy chairperson. But to say something, probably this also have to probably put on our website so that people can go there and download the correct one. So it's Reverend Kisi, I think we need to note this and make sure that the ones that we have given out, we should publish it on our website so that people can go and download them themselves.
Okay, sir.
Then that's where we need to put the app. I think this is a good point here.
Okay.
Can you put in what you just said in the slot to show us as an example, please? I don't understand this one. This is from Queens. So if that can be clarified, I'll be happy exactly what that means. Explain the difference between strategies and target performance. Now, in the okay, that's what is showing here. So it's good. This question can be. Now, in fact, after we've published this thing, somebody said, why don't we just say activity? So see strategies as the activities that you want to undertake. So if, for instance, when you are doing your AQT, you want to buy a new vehicle. So the activity is that buy a new vehicle for the agent in charge. That becomes the activity that you want to do. Your target performance is that in the third quarter, it should have been purchased in the third quarter. So in the third quarter, you have the vehicle purchased. So when you are doing your third quarter report, you have to report whether the vehicle has been. So actual performance that the vehicle has been purchased. You can even give some detail that is I don't know what vehicles you use in America, but it's a Toyota or a Ford or whatever. And it was bought for so much. Or if somebody came and donated, have the money to do it, and you want to say it, you will say it in your remarks. And then that is done. So the strategies is actually the activities that you want to undertake to meet the goals that you set yourselves for your department. So that's what they are. Slide seems to suggest it is prepared, forwarded by the minister. You mean the reports? The reports, and I don't know what the slide says, but all reports are generated by the clerks. If they are going outside your court, they must be authenticated by the agent in charge or the district minister. That is the simple answer to do. We need copies, please, of my presentation. What you really need is copies of the guidelines for report writing. But my presentation is publicly available now. If it is on YouTube, it's on. This is also being recorded, so it's available. I don't even have control over it. I can't decide who sees it and who doesn't see it more, because your program is on YouTube, and I was warned that everything I say and show is publicly available. We need copies, please, of the Excel sheets. Yes, the Excel templates, like I said, your clerk should have it. So, I think they need to be shared. What is the web address of the PCG Ghana? Go to President State of Ghana and search for it. You will see the website, and so that should be easy to do. And if we manage to put these materials there, that means you can download from there. Reverend Kisi will work on that. Can you put in what you said in the slot to show us? Same thing. Annual targets and plans determined top down. No, they are determined by the court. That's why you have to do your TYRP and your AQT. In the TYRP, there's a framework of goals, and those goals have expected national targets. So normally you are supposed to benchmark against the national targets. Some of them are fixed targets, like 10% growth is a fixed target. So, but all the others you can benchmark yourself. So you are supposed to do your own target setting, and and so that's what it is. In the AQT, you do your own target setting. Just for the sake of clarity, this is an overarching framework and not necessarily prescriptive, given some aspects of the requirements might not be practical for some entities. That's correct. It's prescriptive in the sense that these are the framework of goals that we want the cause of the church to work on. But if a particular goal is not applicable to your case, then you just leave it blank. You don't work on that. Some people just don't have the resources to cover all the goals that we've set. So they will select the ones which are, first of all, compulsory, so to say. And then any others that you can work on. So in a particular place, and again, let me say it, especially for those of you in the diaspora, a lot of this has been designed with the Ghana case in mind. So there may be a few places where what we say, if we say go and support schools, for instance, you unless you decide that you want to come and support a school in Ghana here, then that becomes applicable to you. But otherwise, we are expecting that in Ghana here, there are schools, there are private schools attached to some congregations, and even that is not all congregations who have a school to support. So it will not be applicable to every congregation in Ghana. So in the same way, if it's not applicable to you, you leave it blank. So you are right. Yes, in that case, it's you have to deal with select the goals that are applicable to you, plan with them, and then report on them. Do generational groups need to attach these quarterly Excel sheets to their sessions, or do these only apply at the congregational level? Now, this is a very important point, but it opens a lot of a Pandora's box. What we said is that every generational group is like a mini church. So what the church is doing, you expect every generational group to be doing it in their own way, within their context. So for instance, if the church says we want to win souls, you expect that YPG should also have a goal to win souls. When YPG goes out to do soul winning, it's a church that is winning souls. So if YPG has won any souls, they have to provide that information to be included in what the church is reporting on. So yes, in that case, whichever goals any generational group is actively working on, they don't need to work on all the goals. They can just choose what they think is most relevant to them and work on. But whichever goals they choose to work on, when they are reporting, they should report on that goals in the same format that we've given, so that their data can be taken and included in the reports that the church is giving. So that's what I need to say here. Okay, so I think we've done with this is the last comment that I've seen. So if you are okay, Papa Osobo Clark, how are we doing with time?
Yes, sir, Papa. We have 30 minutes more, please, so we can go ahead, please.
Okay. So I'll go to the annual report.
That's great.
Yes, sir. I'm very happy with the question that has been asked, and I think they deal with real issues. Congregations, districts, and presbyteries. So in terms of submission deadlines, the congregations are supposed to submit their reports as determined by the district. So we will not put any deadline for the congregations to submit their annual reports to their district. Now, for our church, the little difficulty with the congregational reports is that I don't know what happens in NAP, but in Ghana, a lot of the districts will do their district sessions in November or December. So by this time, they are requiring all the congregations to submit their annual reports. And at best, these congregations are reporting up to the end of the third quarter, that means September. So the advice is that when you are doing that report to go to your district session, the cut-off date should be 30th, the third quarter, and report according to that. So you see that if, for instance, a congregation decides that they want, a district decides that they will do the session in January, then really the congregations then can do a full annual report and submit it. But as it is now, a lot of, I don't know what applies to now. So there's this freedom there. The Excel report from the congregation, the fourth quarter Excel report will still have to be submitted by the second week of January. The Excel report, so the district can compile its own district report, which it will be submitting on the 31st of January. So the district doesn't have to use the data that is given to them by the congregations at their district sessions. If it's held in, and they've only used third quarter report, then they have to update it for you, and you use the updated report to do your annual report as a district. And the district deadline is 31st January. I hope I've made this clear. So you have to wait by the second week of January, 14th of January, for the congregation to submit all their SL reports, the fourth quarter reports. And once you get this, so they don't need to come again and give you a prose report. That's what I said at the beginning. So that Excel report is important. For the district will do its complete report and submit it to the presbytery by 31st January. At least for Ghana presbytery is the deadline, and this is generally what we put on. It may vary a little bit from presbytery to presbytery. But the presbytery in the constitution is required to submit its annual report to the head office by 28th February. This is a constitution, for the presbytery is in the constitution itself. So we should pay attention to this. Now, in spite of this deadline, which is the report which includes your pros at the tables, for the district, we expect that by the third week, 21st, they will submit their Excel templates for the fourth quarter to the presbytery, because the presbytery is going to start using that to compile its own presbytery report. So that's the difference here. So 31st January here is the complete report, but by the fourth quarter Excel updates should get to the presbytery by 21st January. So I'm just clarifying that. Then for the presbytery, though your report should, your completed report should come by the 28th, by the 28th February, by 28th January, your Excel sheet should go to the head office. And these are important because when we have our performance agreements, evaluation and all those things will depend on these reports, on the Excel report that we will send. And these things will all take place before 28th February, if you go and look at our new templates. So I just want to urge all of us to note these dual things. What I've shown here is for the complete report, which will go into the for the congregations, your report that will go into the district session. For the district, your report that will go into the presbytery session brochure. That's what you are submitting by 31st January. But your Excel template should come a week earlier. For the presbytery, what will go into the General Assembly brochure is what you submit on 28th February. But your Excel sheet should reach the clerk's office by 28th January. And of course, this also, there are a lot of things I've said for the quarterly report, which also apply to the annual report. So I will not really repeat all of them, but I will show them. For titling, the same process, but except that it's an annual report and not a quarterly report. So the annual first, second quarter doesn't come in. The narrative preamble, the same principles. Now, for the annual report, now you see that we are bringing things about the organization into the report now. And I think all of us are doing that already. And so not too much is changing in this format on that. That you start with organization and staffing for your court. So if the congregations, how do you look like in terms of organization and staffing? If you are the district, the same thing. If you are the presbytery, the same thing. Then as part of this organization and staffing, first of all, we are looking at organizational data. That's the first thing we are looking at. And we are saying that for the districts, the organizational data that you give is that you should have a list of all your congregations and your preaching points. There should be somewhere in the report that somebody will know all, just not the number, the list, the entire list should be in your report of your congregations and preaching points. So you can have a table where you have the congregations and preaching point listed, and then there's other information that you can add to that table, and it's the same thing. You don't have to write the list twice. Then key officers and staff within categories with comments. Okay, within categories. So if you have key officers and staff, again at the congregation and district level, these are not big numbers. So the positions can be named, especially the officers and staff. If you have a large staff, you don't need to. All you need to do is give numbers. And then congregations should provide full list of all presbyters. So in the congregations, you see the presbyters as part of your officers, and the full list should be given in your report for congregations. For districts, the people you need to name are only the district officers, and then all the others, number and category of all others. Even if you have to give them by congregations in the table, you can do that. So for instance, if you have the list of all your congregations, you can say for the congregations, do they have an agent in charge, or how many agents do they have? How many ministers? How many? So you can put all those things in a nice table and put it as part of your report. And then if you have any comments, you can comment on it. Then agents of the church, number of caretakers, catechists. This other, if you look on the Form C, you see these categorizations there. And then you especially for the congregation, you name them. For the district, you give the numbers per congregation for each of these categories. And that's all that you need. And this information already, you get it in the Form C and the Form D. If they have been submitted to you, you can extract it and put it in your report in this tabular format. So those are the organization and something which we didn't have before. Now, then we come. So now after doing the organization and staffing, we are now coming to the goals. We are treating it in the, first of all, we start with the overarching goals. And the first overarching goal is membership. So that's the first thing you report on. And so if you refer to, and the annual report, the membership details are given on the form called AR2. This comes from the, how do you call it? This AR2 is generated through the Excel sheet. You can copy it and bring it into your report. And then make any comments that you want to comment on AR2. Then in the overarching goals, after the membership, the rest are reporting deadlines for doing various things. And this is all in the AR1. And what we need to do here is what's the state of compliance. Now, for you yourself, you are reporting as a congregations, you have to state the extent to which you are able to comply with all the deadlines. You have to, whether you are doing well or you're not doing well. That's a self-assessment. If you are a district, you also have to do the same thing in your report. But you also have to make a comment on the extent to which the congregations and operating points under you were complying to their own deadlines. You just have to make a general comment on it because it will not show in the table that you will give. But you need to, because you receive report from them, you should know the extent to which they are complying. So you make a judgment statement on that. Then we go to the departmental goals. Now, each department in the presbytery have a set of goals. For the district, the departments have been changed to committees. The same departments are named as committees. So you'll be reporting under each of the committee goals in that case. For the congregations, 11 committees have been prescribed. So you have to report under those 11 committees for the congregations. And generally, you are reporting for each goal. But again, it's style. Because if you don't take care, your report will become very boring. So sometimes for a department or for a committee, if there are some goals that you didn't do anything on, just be silent on them. And then focus on the ones that you had targets and you were able to achieve things. And the ones that you didn't achieve much, but you still intend to pursue and better your performance. You focus on those ones. So you don't tell a story for each goal because the table is there to give the information. And the ones which have stories or which are important in your scheme of things, you focus on them and make run some commentary and make evaluative statements on them. So this will be the suggestion. So for each applicable goal. So you say that we use the word here, applicable for the goal. So if the goal is not applicable to you, you don't set targets for it, so you don't report on it. So when you are discussing this, you are discussing what you have done. And so when you're telling the stories, what strategies have yielded significant results, this is where the stories come in. Normally, because you report on the strategies in the quarterly report, there's enough information there to help you to craft your annual report. Now, again, somebody asked about projection earlier, and that's this is where you start even doing your projection. So for each applicable goal, state what you are likely to do differently to achieve your future targets, if any. If you don't have anything to say, don't say anything for this. But if you for the ones that you have something to say something about it. Again, style. And then I have something on the other goals here. And I believe for you in the diaspora, this will also apply very much so. Though some goals have been prescribed from us top down, you may have goals on your own bottom up that have not been prescribed for you. If you have such goals, please, in your report on those goals also. State what they are and report on them. Even though they are not in the prescribed set of goals. So that it will appear that, because if we sit in Accra here and we determine goals, for instance, I'm born and bred in Accra. So if you ask me to set goals, probably my goals will be more urbanized. But somebody is sitting in some rural congregation somewhere with other needs that I'm not aware of. So what we've prescribed in our thing is not there. Please state what those goals are. And probably if they are seen to be goals that can be come in the national set of goals, then they'll be brought in at a later date. So please feel free to report on other goals that you are pursuing. So after these are the you have reported under the general heading departmental goals, and you've reported under them. So this is what is structured within the strategic plan. Now, from here going, notable achievements and events, there are things that had occurred outside the strategic plan framework. For instance, this picture you see here is a picture of my chairperson, and probably visited you and made a donation to you. So you can mention this. Probably it's not captured under any strategy or any goal or anything anywhere. But under notable achievements, if the chairperson of Ghana Presbytery visited the North America, Australia Presbytery and visited your district, when you're reporting, seriously, you mentioned this, wouldn't you? And so these are the area to make these particular statements. Please don't go and repeat things that you have said already in your departmental things. You don't need to state them here. There are things, there are extraordinary things that you want and achievements that you want to say. You are celebrating this year, Ghana Presbytery, you are doing a centenary. So when we do a report, it's a notable event for us. We'll report on it, not under any particular department, but we'll still report on it. Then from that, we go to major challenges. Again, the same as for the quarterly reports. Please focus on what is most important challenges. And then in the annual report, we give a room for you to, somebody asked about projections. Emerging a new strategic focus. I'm not too sure whether the strategy here is spelled correctly. You are given the opportunity to dream a little bit here based on an evaluation of the past performance. State any emerging or new strategic focus for coming years. Likely impact on overarching and departmental goals. So when you are talking about this, we are just giving you an idea as to how you should structure it, but your style is your choice. And then remissions and deliverances. I'm very quick to state here that when it comes to remissions, it's a very technical term in our church. And there's a way in which remissions are communicated. Today, like this, I saw a letter coming from the General Assembly clerk saying that there are remissions that are being put before the presbyteries and the districts and congregations. One of them is that we want to carve out a new presbytery in NAAP. So that has been sent to the presbyteries today or yesterday after the GAC meeting. So all of us will see it and we'll have to discuss it. Now, when you take decisions on these remissions, you have to communicate it backwards so that it will get to the clerk of General Assembly. So even if you state it in your report, you have to still follow the normal processes of sending those so that your voice is not will be heard properly, because they are compiled from the way reports are compiled. So we have to follow those protocols. But you are free to restate them in your report so that everybody will see where you are going. And normally, your deliverance should include at least a statement that the report should be accepted. So if you have any recommendation for the higher court in your annual report, it comes under remissions and deliverances. And we haven't called them recommendations here, because now they go into a session meeting, and the session, when they take decisions, binds everybody immediately. So we've used the word remissions and deliverances. And of course, all the reports will be signed in the same way that we've said for the quarterly report. And then we have the tabular here. Now, I've recognized 4 of the tabular attachments to the annual report here. If you read the guidelines, there will be a 5th one, which is a financial report. But normally, financial reports are not attached to the report; they are submitted differently. So I think that these are 4 that we have to attach to our approach report, not our annual financial statements. No, those are submitted differently to the courts. So they don't need to be attached physically to the report. Now, annual KPI report again follows a similar format to what the QR1, but in this case, we don't focus on the quarters, we focus on the current year actual. Apart from all the historical data, that's the only one that we, the column G. All the other columns before G are all generated already. And when you complete your quarterly QR4, Q4, the Q4 column J, then this current year actual is also automatically generated for you. So when you go into the Excel template, you don't input anything into this table. You input into Q4, and then this table is generated for you and is complete. So when you are doing your report, you only copy it to paste. Please, again, I want to say this. When we generate these reports, let's check the numbers that are in the report. Because sometimes there are errors that, if we check them, we will correct before they come up. In the current, like 2022 spreadsheet, some of the tables have some errors in them, and people have not even noticed it, and they are just putting the numbers, and what the numbers generated are completely incorrect. So in fact, probably next week, we are going to do a small workshop that we are going to make those corrections so that we correct them so that the data we generate will be correct. So if you don't assess or evaluate the numbers coming from your compilations, we don't get the feedback that there are errors somewhere. Some people have seen the errors and corrected it quietly for themselves. And so they are generating the right numbers. But others haven't seen it, and or they have not said anything about it, so their numbers are not being generated correctly. So that's a caution that I need to give here. For the annual membership statistics, again, basically the same. For instance, when you see this table is slightly different from what you were doing in the quarterly report. Again, it has added a variance column and the growth percentage for each of the generational groups. In the 2022 template, this output doesn't come out exactly the same it's coming out here. What you get is the first three columns, B, C, and D. You get it there. But it's very easy to copy that Excel into another Excel sheet and then do these calculations and add it to it so that you can generate this table in your Word report. So it's very easy to generate. Again, I just want to point out to you that in the guidelines that have been published, the variance has been calculated wrongly. It's been the E has been done is E is equal to D minus C. It should be E is equal to D minus B. So please just take note of it. When you are doing the variance, you compare the current actual to the previous actual. So the difference is not D minus C, but D minus B. And when you go to the F, the growth percentage is also not divided by C, but is divided by B. There's an error in the manual that has been published. So I'm just bringing that to your attention. Don't repeat the error. Then in the quarterly report too, we didn't add the communicants and non-communicants. But in the annual report, that you are taking it from your Form C and your Form D and reporting on them in this format in your report. So you see that your Form D and your Form C is just for your data gathering. And you are using that data gathering to do your report. So you have to take information from there and put into this table for this table to be complete. Again, the communicants and non-communicants is not in the Excel template. So you have to bring it out of your Form C or Form D or Form P and put them here. So that your table will be complete in your report. So it appears that you need to do a little more work from what the Excel will give you to be able to do your AR too. But I don't think any of this should be too difficult for any of you to do. Then we have the annual average attendance statistics. All the time when you do your what do you call it, quarterly reports, data on this is being collected, but it wasn't demanded that you should add it to your quarterly updates. But it's updated in the QR1 because the data gathered here is sent into QR1 and there's one line that reports on this. But in the annual report, AR3 is supposed to be attached. But it's not attached as QR3 in the quarterly report. So again, there's a difference. Again, this table is generated by the Excel sheet up to the current actual year. The variance calculations and the growth percentages are also not attached. So you could do that additional calculations there. Again, variance has been recorded as B minus C. It's been corrected to D minus B. And growth percentage is shown as divided by C. It should be divided by B. So these are corrections that we need to make if you are going to use the formulas that are in the guidelines. There are errors, they've been pointed out, and so I'm taking this opportunity to correct it. And then there's the annual land management statistics. Again, I'm not too sure how strictly what we have there is applicable for those of you in the diaspora. But the intention is that there's a table 4A, which is supposed to provide a summary data for all lands owned by the church. So this one is given in terms of number, the state of insurance for all landed properties. Probably those of you in the diaspora, you cannot imagine how insurance is important for us. But if you come to Ghana here, a lot of our churches, they don't have any insurance coverage to them. Majority of our churches are not insured. A majority of the residences of agents are not insured. So it's very important that we are trying to push ourselves to that situation that everything will be insured. So that's why table 4B and 4C is put there to know what each congregation is doing. So 4B and 4C collects the details for each property, and 4A gives a summary of what is in 4B and 4C. So if it's applicable to you, please complete those 4A, 4B, and 4C. I just don't want to go into the details of them here. But if anybody has any issue for them, we can go into the Excel sheets and look at them. So that's what I have to say on the annual land management. Now I've put this as a Q3 report. That's the last 2022 Q3 quarter 3 report. I've put it as Mother Horizon. I just want to point out quickly a few things that I think you should pay attention to when we are completing this. Now, some presbyteries, districts, or congregations, they modify the template. Please, we should be very, unless there's a mistake that needs to be corrected, that you've seen and you know exactly how to correct it, please, let's not modify the templates. Because when you modify them, when somebody else is using it and is assuming that you filled it in a certain way, so he's just copying from it and using it to update, to compile his own report, you may be giving him a lot of trouble because you've modified it. Once you modify the template, you are in trouble. And so let's be wary of modifying the template. If you see an error, let's discuss it. And if you have to correct it, then we'll go and correct it. If you have an error in your thing, then that means everybody else is having that same error, so that you can correct it for everybody. So please, let's be wary of modifying the table. And then we also stress that the quarterly data that we are compiling in our quarterly report is cumulative. And I think somebody has reiterated it, and I just want to say that it's cumulative it's as at data. And then I think there are some KPIs that we need to pay attention to. I'll show them in the next slide. And then I'll also talk a little bit about district summary and versus district goals. So let's move on to the next slide. Now, these goals in the things, and I've used for the district, and these are goals which are not applicable they are not within the congregational framework, but they are in the district framework. I'm not too sure how, but plant new preaching points by the district. Now, the DME03. We should note that the KPI is number of preaching points planted since 2020. So it's not how many you are planting in the particular year that you are planning for, you are reporting on, but the number that you've planted since. So it's cumulative, starting from 2020. It's 2020 that this strategic plan is from 2020 to 2029. So we want to see how many preaching points you've planted since 2020. So that's the framework in which this goal has been set. So when you are reporting, please bear in mind that it's since 2020. This also applies to DME 04 since 2020. Lands or properties applied for preaching points since 2020. Chapels constructed for preaching points since 2020. So please, let's pay attention when we are dealing with these goals. This since 2020, we should pay attention to it. A lot of people don't pay attention to it, and so the numbers keep fluctuating, and we are not too sure what is happening. So let's pay attention. These are all introduced at the district level. They are not available at the congregation level. So presbyteries, let's also pay attention to dates. Now, district summary versus district goals. Now, and this applies to the Excel template, and probably, and it also applies to more to the district. Now, probably to show this, I need to go into the Excel sheet, so I'll just do that. But so let me do that. I think I've opened it. So let me go to share and look for I've not opened just a moment. Just a moment. Let me go back to my files and open them, and I'll come. This moment is opening. I'll get to you now. Okay, I'm going back to share. Can you see my Excel sheets?
Yes, please.
Okay. So when we are completing the district data, we copy information from each of the congregations, and then we paste them into There's some covering my something here. Let me see if I can move it. Okay. So you will see that what we actually have here is you see that you copy information from your congregations and paste them in this sheet here. Now, so all the congregations, if you have 5 congregations, you paste their data. When you paste them, the data will all be put into what we call district summary sheets. So it will add all the data from your districts and place them here, from all your congregations and place them here. But the goals are not district goals. They are congregational goals that have been compiled. So the data which comes here is only to help you to compile the congregational data. And it's not your district goals. The district goals are reckoned in what we call the district goals here, in this sheet here. And this sheet does 2 things. It picks some of the data that has been compiled so for example, if you come to source 1, you see that it's equal to, if you look at the bar here, it's equal to district summary. It's coming from district summary F23. So that comes directly here because we are not going, the district is not going to add anything to it anymore. Whatever it has to add, it has added already, and it all comes here. But some of the goals are unique to the district. And the district has to fill those things as part of the district goals, which will go to presbytery. So it's not after you've just put all the congregational summaries together, then you say, I have my district goals. No, the ones which will go into your district goals will be transferred into your district goals. But then you have to come into district goals to come and complete all the blue cells that you have there. It applies when you are doing your TYRP, it applies when you are doing your quarterly reports. The quarterly reports are over here, and the TYRPs are here. So for instance, submit district TYRP to presbytery chairperson. It's not a congregational goal. It's a unique district goal. So you have to come and put in your dates here for your district, and so on. And so you have to come in here and complete it. So your district goals are not completed until you've come in here and completed your district goals. And for the districts, I want this to be very to be noted. So when whilst you are compiling the data for the congregations, you should also be working on things that are unique to the districts. So all the blue areas you have to fill when you are doing your TYRP. And when you are doing your quarterly report also, all the blue areas you have to fill before you can finish your quarterly reports for this place here. So that's the first one that I want to point out for you. The second thing I want to point out is in the congregations, congregation 1 sheet here is reserved for the districts. Again, when the district is working, there is information that the district has to fill in congregation 1 to make their work complete. My navigation is becoming a problem for me. So you see that we call this district only. And the district only, if you read the note here, say that fill in data for only appropriate goals that are also undertaken directly at the district level. This will be added to the summary of districts for the congregation. So for instance, if just let me give one classic example. If the district goes to organize as a patriot, that's how we call it, you go and do an evangelist program by the district, not by a particular congregation, and souls are won. The souls will be reported under MEO1 because no other congregation is reporting on those souls. But if, for instance, you go and help a congregation to do it, and the congregation has already reported on it, then you don't report on it as a district. For instance, if the district undertakes a mission activity, then they have to report on it here. Because the districts can also undertake mission activities, which are similar to activities we expect the congregations to take. So if you look at the congregation goals and the district is directly doing anything to generate any data there, then you report, you provide information on that at the TRP stage and also report on it under the quarterly reports. So these are the two things I want to point out, that when the district is preparing its TYRP, please go to Congregation 1 and go and see whether you need to. You don't have to, but if you need to complete any of these blue cells, if you have to, complete them. After that, please go to district goals. And whichever outstanding blue cells are there, you complete them. When you complete them under Congregation 1, they are added to what goes into the district summary. When you complete them here, they are unique to the presbytery, and there's nothing common with them with the congregations. So that's why you have to fill it under the district goals. This same principle also applies to the presbytery. So when the presbytery is also working, you have presbytery goals and you have a presbytery summary. The presbytery summary would have just summarized things from the districts. And District 1 will be presbytery only. Again, if there are things there that the presbytery want to complete, you also have to complete it. And then the report will be complete. So I just needed to bring these things to your attention. But beyond this, I think we've covered most of our grounds, and we can go back to our slides and conclude. So so on the report writing, if you have questions, then we can take them. Then I have one or two concluding statements to make, then we can finish. So if there are any questions, there are some three questions in the chat. Let me see. Could you please throw more light on departmental goals? Each of the, like I said, the presbytery has departmental goals. And this is in the framework of goals and KPIs. And if you go to the presbytery church website today, those frameworks are there. They are posted on the website already. So you could go there and go and look at those frameworks. There's one for congregation, there's one for district, and there's one for presbytery. And so you can go and check them for your relevant place. And so for each of the committees in the district, you have a set of goals. For each of the committees in the congregations, you have a set of goals. So you can go there and check them. And this is what has been put in the templates that have been developed for doing the TYRPs and the reporting, QRs and the ARs. So it's the same framework that has been brought down. Okay. Do districts also forward congressional reports upwards in addition to their district? No. the districts only forward their district reports, and it will be a compilation from the congregation. They don't have to, they don't need to, and they don't have to submit the congregational report to the presbytery. No, the presbytery will not even have time to look at them. So you don't. No. The answer to that is no. If you can demonstrate on how to use the Excel template, that will be great. That's, I would have done a lot on that if I was going to do the new template for 2023. I would have actually gone into the Excel and cast through. But as it is now, I'm not too sure that we'll have the time to do that. And the 2023 is not too different from, there's a question here, I'm not too sure. With the intro of KPIs, metrics, etc., what control has headquarters put in place at the various levels to ensure this indeed provides meaningful information and not just checking the boxes? From a quality assurance perspective, that is, also along the same lines in Ghana, do you have full-time employees dedicated to this task? You should have come to the General Assembly Council meeting yesterday. I don't think there are full-time tax officers here. In fact, when we started this, one of our positions in terms of the implementation framework was to appoint the ICs as full-time officers to do this work. But as I said now, I don't know any presbytery or district or congregation that have employed an IC as a full-time. So a lot of the people doing it are just doing it. Even I myself, as a lead facilitator, is not being employed, even part-time. So we all do it because we like to help. And so far, that's how it's going. But really, going forward, we are hoping that the courts will realize that if we want to be more qualitative about what we do, then we really need to get people to be able to evaluate these things and advise the courts accordingly. That is really the way to go, especially at the presbytery level. If the presbyteries can really put a lot more into evaluating the information that is coming from the districts, then more questions can be asked and more work can be done on this qualitatively. Up to today, it sounds like checking the boxes and that people have done this, but you need to move beyond checking the boxes. Compliance is the biggest challenge now, getting people to just comply and submit the information. And we need to overcome that before meaningful evaluation we can start focusing on it. For instance, in the Ghana Presbytery, for the first time this third quarter, all the districts submitted their quarterly reports on time. At the beginning of the year, the first quarter, it was like 8 out of 28. And then second quarter, it was 18 out of 28. And this third quarter, it was 28 out of 28. Hopefully, if this continues, probably we can start then being more qualitative in the assessment of what we are receiving. Just making sure that people have brought it to you and you can also report upstairs. So that's what I have to say about it. And there's a lot more work we have to do. And I think the work should really not start at the head office, but really start at the presbyteries. The presbyteries should own this and start generating the quality assessments for the presbytery levels. And then it will reach the districts and congregations more quickly. So this is what I can say for now on that. Kwame, is it possible for local districts to add additional goals for a year? I've said yes. and you work on it. So what somebody is asking what the takeaways are. One, the takeaway is that you have to use the guidelines for report writing to write your annual report. That's the first one that I will say. The second one that I will say is that you have to learn to submit your reports on time. And then number three, I will say that this is the question that I was just discussing. Please start doing qualitative checks, analysis of the information you are receiving so that it can help with church growth. These are the three things that I will say. And again, probably I will say based on this, going forward, okay, so really, if this is where we are ending, then this will be my last slide. Papa Clark.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. We are very, very, very happy to have you here. And I'm pretty sure that all the things that you have discussed with us, we're going to put them into practice, and we shall see them come this November ending as we submit our reports to the various congregations and districts and to the presbytery at the end of January. Thank you, and God bless you. Papa Kisi, are you there, sir?
Yes, please.
Can we hear from you, sir?
Well, please, I'm here.
Yeah, can you, I want a word from you, please. Anything for us?
Not substantial. I think Papa Hesse has said it all. We really need to put all that he has said into practice. You know, as a church now, we have moved away significantly from the old system of planning for our activities, and this is what we have adopted. And so, would encourage all to come on board so that we can make the process much better.
All right. Thank you very much. And so to all, God bless you. To my, I call him Professor. This is a conferred professorship. Thank you, Professor Anand Hesse. We are very grateful to have you. He is the lay rep of the Rainbow Presbytery, and our brother Osofo Frank Kisi is also a minister of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, and he works at the head office as well. God richly bless you. And you came in your numbers. We recorded almost 190 persons coming on board. To our precious leaders, district ministers, all agents, clerks, group leaders, group president, group secretaries, we say thank you, and thank you again. That gives the overview of our work in our various departments and our groups, so that after all the hard work, after all the fasting, after all the prayers, all the various strategic plans, if we don't report, the church doesn't know what goes on in our various quarters. So this is very significant as far as church management is concerned. And I thank God that we've been given the details of it. Again, we would share the link with you so you can go over and over and over and practice it yourself to see. When I lay hands on the format 2, I would also share with you so you can begin putting in the values yourself to see how it goes. We wish you all the best in the upcoming district sessions. and we say, God bless you. At this time, we will ask the district minister of New York to pray with us, the Reverend Dr. Kwabena Fusuado, to please humbly share the closing prayer with us, please.
Thank you so much. Kofi Aiko, we want to thank you. Bless you so
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. God, we're so grateful for a moment of education and deep insight into planning. Sometimes the church is concentrated only on spirituality without data for planning and guidance. Thank you for the people that have availed themselves. It is really true that you have gifted your church with knowledge. You have gifted your church with personality of diverse backgrounds, that you mobilize all of them to guide and to propel your church for growth. What a privilege and what an insight. Thank you for the dedicated person that we believe in, that these sacrifices will not go in vain, but may these sacrifices be a memorial in your presence, that you bless their ministries, bless their work, and bless their families. Thank you for an opportunity for North America, Australia Presbytery to sit to have this insight and to think through and to plan and to prepare, praying that this will be a blessing as we also move from one level of growth to another. Now, God, we are grateful. We want to say thank you. Those who have also waited on you in this area will have their strength and their knowledge renewed, and we will grow from grace unto grace. Thank you for the opportunity that you created through the presbytery administration, the presbytery chairperson, and the clerk facilitating this session. We're praying that your blessings will also be upon them. As we break from this session, may your presence accompany us, and may your presence go with us and help us to be able to put whatever we have learned into use so that your church will move forward. There's gratitude in our hearts as we have prayed in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen and amen, and amen again. Amida kwena afadamau na yira mi kakaka. Kana nyumo ajo nya fe ready. Achira wo ne pe no na wo ne pe papa. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. I still see some hands up. People are saying that they have hands up. I was taught in school that during such programs, if you allow people to talk, they will end up talking more than the facilitator. That is why we said that if you want to ask a question, you type it in a summary form. That will get that. So let me go off YouTube, and then I'll take off the restriction, and you may interact maybe a few minutes with the facilitator as well. But officially, we have closed. Thank you.